Hello, everybody. I am super excited to share this project with you. I was inspired by Nadia. If you are not following her on Instagram and YouTube, you definitely need to do that because she is so inspiring. Her projects are just amazing. And I was inspired by one of her recent projects. The colors she used were so gorgeous together, and I wanted to do something that I normally wouldn't and put those colors together. So I tried it out. Abby is just saying hi. All right, and if you are watching this premiere video with me as it premieres, I guess, we can chat. So if you are not in the chat room or the chat box, be sure to say hi. And if you are watching later, just leave me a comment down below letting me know if you got the notification or not for this video. All right, so I am starting off with a wood slab. I got it at Hobby Lobby, and I am covering it with gesso. And I ended up scraping some of it off from the sides because I actually decided that I wanted some of that wood to show on the sides. I will do that later, but I do keep that in so you guys can see how I kind of fix that, I guess. A lot of you ask me, what do I do with a project that I have, done something that I don't like, or how do you fix something? This is something that I guess, do on occasion. So I wanted to leave it in so I can just show you guys. It's pretty simple. I just scrape it off, but for the people that want to see that sort of thing, I guess the mistake in a way, and then how I decide to fix it, I left it in for you guys. All right, so I am now adding some crackle paste. This is from Cosmic Shimmer. It is amazing crackle paste. I wish it came in a larger bottle or container because I'm almost already out. Um, but I let it dry, and now I decided at this point that I wanted some of that wood to show. So I'm taking a palette knife. This is a metal palette knife, and I'm just scraping off just the top layer of that gesso and that crackle paste. It is such a waste, but I really wanted that wood to show. Just gives the project a little more interest, and I really like how it looks. All right, so I'm using a stencil. This is woven, I think it's just called woven maybe, from Prima. And I will have the supplies listed in the description box below if you are wanting any of the supplies. And I will try to find all of them. Some of them I've had in my stash for so long that unfortunately you cannot get, but I I need to use what I have in my stash. So I do feel bad that you guys can't get some of the supplies, but at the same time, I can't just let good supplies just sit here. It would be such a waste. And I am using the paper paste from Prima. This is one of my favorite pastes to use, like a modeling paste, or before I liked the light and fluffy paste, and then before that I liked the light paste from Prima. But this one is by far my favorites until they probably come out with something new. All right, so I added that texture paste with the stencil, and I am using the Tonic Studios spatula, and it comes with two. I absolutely love these, and I do prefer them over the Finnabair spatulas. They are a little bit more comfortable in my hand, a little bit easier to clean, and just overall, I think a better product in my opinion. And then what I did was I kind of blended out that paste into the wood slice so that it all blends really nicely and flows really nicely together. All right, so now I am just painting all of the embellishments. I'm not going to bore you with painting every single one, but I just wanted to show this step that I am adding gesso, a good amount of gesso to all of the embellishments, and then I let them dry. And I do add another coat of gesso to them in the end, especially the metal ones. And what I do with the mold pieces that I do with the clay, excuse me, I just add like a light-handed dry brush on the top of the mold piece. That way the gesso sits on top, and then when I add any color or paints or anything later on, it soaks into that clay, the paper clay, really, really nicely, and it just gives a lot of dimension and interest to the project. All right, so now I'm going to add color, and it was a little tricky for me to decide where I wanted what color because I normally honestly just stick to one color family, like blues or turquoise or pinks or purples. But this time, like I said, I was inspired by Nadia's project, and I think I am using the exact colors she used. This one here is Dragonfly Blue, and I didn't want a lot of color in a whole lot of area. I wanted to keep some white space, so I like to take the nozzle out and add the color that way, or you can use a paintbrush. And I do add quite a bit of water to the project so that the color can kind of move around where it wants to, get in all of those cracks, and flow really nicely just all over the project, or where I put the in the general area of where I put the color. And it seeps into all of the cracks where I added the Crackle paste, which is really, really nice. And the water helps it blend out really nicely and just creates a lot of depth and dimension on the project. So I'm going to continue to add that Dragonfly Blue color, which is one of my favorite colors if you did not know. I use it quite often in my projects. It's a really pretty color. So I decided to switch to a paintbrush because I wanted it to go a little bit faster, I guess. This project did take me quite some time. There was probably 2 or 3 hours of footage that I needed to edit out, a lot of, the repetitiveness and all of that sort of thing. But I tried to keep in all of the main parts of the project. All right, so I dried that, not completely dried, but pretty dry to the touch where it wasn't going to flow right away if I added some more water around where that Dragonfly Blue color is, because I wanted to add that purple, which is, let me grab it really quick, I think Sugar Plum, and this is another color bloom spray from Prima. It's a really pretty purple as well. And I'm just kind of adding it randomly. Again, this part was a little bit hard for me, but I figured if I didn't like how it looked, I can just add a ton of water to it and try and get up as much as possible of the color and then paint it again with gesso, or I could just end up scraping it off. So that's another tip. Just kind of go with it and try it out, and if you don't like it, I mean, if anything, I could flip it over and do something on the back side. So there's always an option if you don't end up liking something that you add to your project, to try and fix it. So hopefully in this video I am giving you just a couple tips to help you out. All right, so I am now going to add more of that Dragonfly Blue color, and I'm just kind of going back and forth between the two colors to get the vibrancy that I want. And then I do actually tone it down with some gesso in the end, but I do that probably with all of my projects. I just think that it brings everything really nicely together and it helps everything flow really good together. All right, if you haven't noticed, there is quite a bit of lag between the voiceover and the video. I didn't realize that until I saw my battery light come on my laptop and it said your battery is running low, and I then realized that it wasn't plugged in. So my computer, my laptop was working twice as hard to keep up with the video and doing the voiceover and everything. So I apologize for that. All right, hopefully everything will be fine now. I added some stamping and I used some archival ink from Ranger. It's really important, especially if you want to add any color or anything, paints, sprays, that sort of thing after, because it doesn't bleed. And again, I will have all of that listed down below. All right, we're caught up, I think. I am now just going to play around with placement, but to be honest, I did a lot of this off camera, so I kind of knew where I wanted things, but I just didn't know exactly if I wanted everything on here or if I was just going to use a few things or more things, or that sort of thing. So these are all of the embellishments that I used earlier, or I had painted earlier with the gesso. All right, this photo, I took this photo just to be, fun on using Snapchat, and my daughter wanted me to use it for a project, so I decided that I would use it. And when I was creating the project, I had this moment of, I guess, when you're a mom of a daughter, you really try and watch what you say about yourself. If you're unhappy with your hair, or you feel that you're a little chunkier than you should be, whatever the case may be. So I decided that I would talk to her about that sort of thing, just self-love in a way. And I know it's kind of cheesy, but it's very important to try our best to appreciate who we are and what we look like. And it's tough, because even talking about it, it's hard for me, because I always am struggling with my weight and just different things about myself that, some I can, some I can't change. So I hope that we can all just love ourselves the way we are and just accept who we are and who other people are as well. I think that's important too. All right, with that out of the way, I added some flowers here and there, just kind of, again, playing around with placement, and I use Fabri-Tac to add all of my embellishments. That way I can move them if I end up not liking where it is. It gives you a little bit of playtime. But to be honest, with some of them, I probably should have used some E6000, only because it does get a little bit heavy in some areas. And although I trust Fabri-Tac, but I don't trust it completely when it is like something really heavy. And I plan to put this up somewhere in my craft room. So it's going to sit up, where all of the embellishments could fall off. I'm hoping not, but if they do, I will add some E6000. All right, I am very chatty today, and I only had 1 cup of coffee, so I do apologize. If you're watching this premiere with me, I do appreciate it. If you have made it this far, and if you haven't done so already, please give this video a thumbs up. I truly appreciate it. All right, so I added a lot of gesso on top of the color that I had already added, and then just kind of in areas that I felt where it needed, like the flowers and some of the embellishments, again, just to kind of help everything flow really nicely together. And now I am going in with some more color on a lot of those embellishments, just again to help everything flow really nicely together. And I think it's important to try and achieve this, although it takes some time. Well, for me it did anyways. It's not perfected yet, but just to make progress in really liking how my project is going, and understanding where I want things and that sort of thing. Again, it's taken me quite some time to get it down to where I can say, yep, I like this here, and I know I would like this here and this there. I've made hundreds of projects, so again, it's just all in time. I get asked all the time, you make it look so easy, how do you do it? It's, that sort of thing, and it's really not. It's taken me a lot of trial and error, I guess, and just growing in my creativity, trying new things, knowing what I like, what I don't like, trying my best to be authentic to myself and not limiting myself, I think, is the biggest part of my creative journey. I see comments like, you know, with a layout that with so much dimension, where do you put it? Why would you make something like that if you can't put it in an album, or, you know, you can't put that card in a regular envelope? To me, I see that as a kind of like a roadblock to my creativity, and I don't want that. So I throw everything out that I guess technically to some should be, and I just do what I want and I enjoy the process. And it's taken me, again, lots of time to get here. I've been on lots of design teams where I loved, but I still felt a little bit of where I wasn't able to create what I wanted completely because of restrictions on products that I could use and can't use, and you know, that sort of thing. So just knowing what you want and not limiting yourself to, you know, oh well, that's probably going to be too much dimension on the layout, or too much texture on that, or, you know, whatever the case may be. Just do it and have fun and create what you want. And hopefully in your creative journey you can hopefully get there too. And I'm just speaking to those that are just starting out, because I have gotten a lot of comments lately that have said that I'm just starting my journey. I love your channel, you teach me so much. So I'm hoping to reach those people, because as you know, I've been doing videos for 10 years, and sometimes I do forget that there is new people out there just starting mixed media, just starting scrapbooking, card making, that sort of thing. So I'm hoping that I can inspire everybody, but those that are just starting out, that don't give up, just keep going, trial and error, just do what you want, don't listen to anybody else. All right, back to the project. Sheesh, I am totally chatty today. All right, so I added more color and then I dried that, and now I'm adding some more dry brushing of the gesso on my project. And I did have to do this quite a bit. I honestly was a little lazy. What I like to do is I like to have my heat tool out while I'm adding the gesso, and it just creates a nice thick layer on where I'm adding I kind of did it, but I was slacking a little bit, to be honest. So what I like to do is I use the heat tool to make the gesso really thick and tacky, and then it just kind of sits on top of wherever I add it. It really helps. It's just, I don't know what it was. I was just being lazy at this point. But I obviously knew that I needed to do it. So I don't know what it was up with my camera this day. It just kept getting darker and lighter and darker and lighter. So I do apologize. But after I added the gesso, I am now going to add some splatters, and I am using the Picket Fence Distress Spray, and this is my favorite to use. If you want to get this, I do suggest maybe getting the re-inker and making your own if that is an option for you. I do have the re-inker, and I do add a little bit to the bottle, and this is the same bottle that I've been using since I started probably about a year ago using it, I think. And after that dries, I am now going to add some art stones, and this goes into something that somebody had asked me about, adding the final touches to projects, whether it's rhinestones or whatever, you know, the last little bits of something for your project. And the splatters for me are one of the last little bit of touches that I like to add to a project to give it nice, some interest, and just let everything, you know, flow nicely together. And the art stones for mixed media for some projects is, again, that sort of thing for me. I feel like when I add it to the flowers, and it flows nicely to the frame and then down to all of the other layers. It just brings everything really nicely together and helps everything flow really good together. And I talk about some of this stuff in one of my live streams, my last live stream on Tuesday. It's about 3 hours long of me just kind of chatting about how to build up your focal point and just kind of creating those layers of texture and just, I don't know, just creating that focal point, trying to explain it the best that I could. But I do create a project, and I will have the shorter version hopefully up soon. I only have the recorded video from the webcam, so it's not as good of quality, but it will be up soon for those that aren't fans of the live streams. All right, so I am just going to continue to add the art stones, and I do mix it with the soft matte gel. I find that that is one of my favorite things to use with glitter or the art pebbles or anything like that. And you really need to let them dry overnight or for at least a few hours, because if you add any sort of liquid to the gel, the matte gel, and the art stones, it will break down the gel and the adhesive and they won't stick as well. I've learned that the hard way lots and lots of times. It took me quite a long time to actually figure that out. And now I just leave them alone, let them dry, and then I can go in with more spray or, you know, acrylic paint or whatever. In this case, I am adding some more gesso to the project here. And I was kind of, not that I wasn't happy with the project, but it was just different for me to add all of, you know, the two different colors. And so it took me a minute to kind of get used to it, I guess, and I absolutely love this project. All of the textures and all of the embellishments that I use, my picture that I used, and I just absolutely love this project. So I hope that you guys love it too, and I'm sorry for being so chatty. There's just a lot that I felt I wanted to show for this project and not, I guess, necessarily as much explanation needed for some things. So I definitely was pretty chatty today on this video. So if you are new to my channel, know that sometimes it happens, but for the most part, I'm pretty straight to the point for these types of videos. So, and if you are in the premiere of the video, let me know if this video was too long or if you like this length of video. And yeah. All right, so I finished up adding the gesso and now I am again adding more splatters. I love my splatters. I cannot get enough splatters, and for some reason it's just so dark. I don't know why. And when I try to lighten it up in my editing software, it just blows everything out. So I'm just keeping it how it is. It's nice and light and airy in real life. So just know that. You can kind of see in the photos what it really looks like. And that is going to complete the project. Again, I hope you guys enjoyed. If you haven't done so already, please give this video a thumbs up. If you are new to my channel, I hope you subscribe and leave me a comment down below to saying hi or letting me know if you got the notification for the video. And here is a couple more videos you might enjoy. There is a channel that I'm featuring, so I hope that you stop by and check her out. And I want to thank you guys so much for watching, and I will catch you guys later. Bye.